Some of the screenplay contrivances feel truly ludicrous. The conveniences are disguised as clever plotting, and yet it is a riveting film when viewing it. I'll name this the weaker of the Revenge trilogy, although it is always arresting how convicted Park Chan-wook is in enforcing his images. The almost braggadociously unpleasant and what of it extremity of certain Korean films from this era is not my favourite thing in the world, although some culminated in nevertheless filmic exercises such as this title, or the later very notorious I Saw the Devil, also featuring Choi Min-sik as a very depraved sadist, or the earlier Oasis, which has quite a lot of esteem attached to it, I imagine still. Look at Park Chan-wook's overall body of work. I have to admit, I suspect we have a director whose reputation was elevated by the bold brilliance of Old Boy, and whilst First and The Handmaiden are also tremendously watchable and cinematically dense, they are also formal and cinematographically safe. A far cry from the art punk audacity of Old Boy, it seems as though they are more conservative pleas for refined placement amongst an existing Eurocentric overall canon rather than signifiers beyond the surface level cultural inevitabilities or particular historical priorities, narrative models, or a period piece specificity of why that initial Korean auteur wave took the film nerd world by welcome storm. At one time, the English-speaking world were excited by South Korean cinema, not due to an idealized, hyper-neoliberal, westernized pseudo-utopia as presented in South Korean media to the West now, but a frenetic, brazen, creatively DIY yet artistically convicted. Titles such as Memories of Murder, Bittersweet Life, or The Chase, or any one of Kiduk Kim's pictures compared to the rubbish, safe, sanitized, and more overtly Orientalist appeal of South Korean media now. This feels like a regression. Who'll bother to deny this? Seriously. Then again, back then, South Korean film and television production companies weren't assuming they could sell K-pop to the West at that time, though things changed, clearly. I once heard it said that South Korea experienced modernization at a more rapid speed than any other nation, from a feudal state at the beginning of the 20th century to an alleged portal into the rest of the westernized world's future. Declining population, endemic isolation, social media obsession, spiteful and hostile classism, and offering no forward-thinking beliefs for its nihilistic younger generations. The 2000s seem like an Arcadia now. Let's change that. We weren't supposed to look back on that decade fondly. Let's clean things up in the 20s here, why don't we? I'll start with Sydney, you guys start wherever you all are. Make sure to have fun whilst doing so, obviously.